Like and subscribe right now, or else this will be in your bed tonight. Parents of Reddit, what did you find in your kid's room that you put back and never discussed with them? I wasn't snooping, I was helping him organize all his collections of stuff when he was in high school. I came across an old metal cookie tin filled with paper scraps. He'd apparently torn off every good job and nice work comment he's ever gotten from his teachers, as well as all of the happy birthday and love yous from all his cards. I realized how important those tangible affirmations are to him, so I've made it a point over the last 15+ years to write things down in addition to telling him. He's got pretty severe anxiety, depression, and PTSD, and I'd like to think that, if I'm not with him, one of those little pieces of paper might help him get through whatever he's dealing with. You're an excellent parent. Keep it up. This, as someone with pretty much all that SHT myself, I'd kill for parents like that. Mind shame me for my beliefs and remind me how worthless I'm constantly. Edit. Dang, this blew up. I'll get to this tomorrow, I promise. When I was 9ish, my mom got me a light up handled back massager. I was obsessed with it. It looked like something space age and did wonders on my neck and back. My older teenage sister stole it from my room one day and I noticed it on her nightstand. She wouldn't give it back and I told my mom she stole it, but mom just said just let her have it. 20 years later, and I finally understand. Well, did your mom get you a new one? Understandable then, but I would have been mad regardless of the use if someone stole one of my possessions. Edit. Irregardless regardless. Edit 2. Well, that went from dildo talk to the state of the English language real quick. It's actually disregardless. What the FK, man? There could be children on here you're exposing to that kind of reckless free-form verbiage. A pair of SpongeBob boxer shorts with the cheeks cut out to make them into a thong. They were just trying to make bikini bottoms. If she goes to the beach with them, she'll have sandy cheeks. I'm a 24-year-old who grew up watching that damn show. And I just now got a name. Thank you. Condoms. Never ever take the condoms. My friend's dad found her contraceptive pill and threw it away. She was pregnant within 6 months. Oh no, I can't find my birth control pills. I guess I won't ever have sex again, said no teenager in the history of the universe. And it didn't solve anything either. I understand why patents don't want kids to have sex, but why toss them and then not bring it up? That should have brought up a discussion. Perhaps it's because he would have to explain how he found them in the first place. The person who'd willingly have that conversation isn't the same type of person to throw away the pills. It was just them being a SHT parent. In high school, my mom decided to clean my room as a nice gesture. She found my vibrator under my pillow. I got a text, guess you're too old for me to surprise with cleaning your room. Okay, under the pillow seems to be a pretty common hiding spot based on this thread. It also clearly doesn't work. So to anyone currently doing this, find a different spot, get a small lockbox, or with your hobby stuff, so finding it would involve them taking an interest in what you do. I'm the kid, but once my girlfriend accidentally left her undies under my bed. Every so often, when I'm away for an amount of time, my mum will clean up my room and do some washing. When I got back one time, I found her undies washed with mine and left for me to put away in my room. She's never mentioned it to me. Your mom's a bro. When I was 10, my brother was 12. We were staying the weekend at our grandpa's house way out in the country. I found a cock ring in the bathroom, and being 10 I obviously had no clue what it was, so I showed it to my brother. He told me what it was, and we ran outside in the middle of the night and chucked it into the woods because we panicked. Thankfully grandpa never asked about his missing cock ring. Edit. I guess for context, since so many people are asking, I'm only 20. This happened in like 2010. We definitely had internet access, so presumably that's how my brother knew what a cock ring was. I love kid logic. Sex stuff? Chuck it into the woods. How else would all the porn mags have ended up there? Not a parent, but my dad moved to a new apartment after I shipped to boot camp. When I got back home on boot leave, he was showing me around his new apartment and he just casually mentioned, your pocket pussy is in that drawer by the way. Haha. A true battle buddy saves your stuff. An entire nightstand drawer full of used feminine hygiene products. I wanted to ask why, but I felt like any conceivable answer would just beckon more questions. Was this in your son's room or your daughter's? I have questions. If it was in the son's room, it's just creepy. There's a Norwegian girl that collects used condoms and mails them to her wall. She had 2,000 of them in the last article I read. Personally, she sounds like marriage material to me, and you don't need a condom with your wife. Oh, the smell. It must be like a latex lobster pot in that house. I hate how perfect that description is. Was looking for my vibrator that mysteriously disappeared from my drawer. Looked in the teenager's room. Not there. Went to my 5-year-old's room and there it was sitting on top of his dresser in all its glory. I was too scared to ask anyone how my lightsaber got there, so just took it back and hid it in my room. TBH, if you told him it was a lightsaber, he just probably wanted to play with it as if it were a toy. It is a toy. You got a friend in me. I think the correct term is I've got a friend in me in this case. I'm the child in this story. I was about 10 or 11 and feeling really guilty for being a horrible person. Silly kid stuff. I don't remember exactly what. Maybe it was as simple as not saying I love you enough. I felt I had to atone somehow, so I started writing I love you dad, love you mum, love you sister 1, love you sister 2, and did it over and over, almost like the lines you'd get as punishment in school. I did a full page and then completely forgot about them. My room was very messy and my parents didn't enforce me to clean it. Silly of them. In my defense, I most likely have undiagnosed ADHD, but that's besides the point. What is the point is that it may have been months later or even years later that I found that piece of paper again, and I was cringing for having written it. But at the bottom in my dad's handwriting was one final line. We love you too. You made me tear up a little amid the sea of dildos and drugs. Not a parent, but found a note in my brother's room talking about killing my cat. Note, he never has. But did you have a cat? Not anymore. I'm about to be 17, and seeing this now has me worried what they found over the years. Think of it this way, if they didn't find it, they don't know. If they did, they clearly decided, rightly or wrongly, I have no idea, what you were hiding. It wasn't a big deal or you were mature enough for it. Third option, that doesn't help whatsoever. The parents are too terrified to have an incredibly awkward conversation. Heh. Still better than your mom walking in on you masturbating. We had to move our kid out of a bad living situation. She wasn't in any condition to help. So wife and I go in and just start grabbing her stuff. We come across her adult baby fetish deer. Like 2 duffel bags of it, giant noses, binkies, diapers, etc. Wife looked at me, I looked at her, we shut each bag, and have never spoken of it again. My father-in-law helped us move once. The only trunk he decided to have a look-see in was a sex trunk, FFS. A whole trunk. I must be living too vanilla. My wife has a couple of vibrators, but those are for personal use. We've tried the sex toy thing a couple of times, but it never stuck. I knew we were vanilla, but if sex trunks are the norm, I suppose we are not even that. Maybe more like a water flavored slushy. My son is a very talented artist. While cleaning his room, we found a drawing that he'd done a sort of a 3-part comic strip. First panel, there was a pretty girl wearing bib overalls, the kind with the straps over the shoulder. Second panel, one of the strap buttons popped loose and the strap was flying back over her shoulder as the overalls started to fold down. Third panel, the girl, breast exposed, had a perfect look of surprised embarrassment on her face. The reason we didn't say anything was because he was a pretty shy 11-year-old and we didn't want him to stop drawing by embarrassing him. I regret not taking a picture of it, though, because it was really impressive artwork for a kid. But he was drawing his own porn. The perfect crime, no evidence to be left behind, except for that comic. But we don't mention that. When I was 11 years old, I made a PowerPoint which was nothing but the lower parts of a woman and a penis going in and out over and over again. You get creative. But the important question is, which assignment at school was it for, and did you pass? I was laying peel and stick tiles in our bathroom and found a couple of mild nudie mags hidden under the big package of TP. At about that time, youngest son came home and was a bit panicked, but never said anything at the time. I made sure to place the magazines back when I was done tiling. I showed them to my wife and joked that I should have substituted granny gangbangs or similar. I still regret not doing it. Edit. Well, This certainly took off much more than I expected. Thank you for the awards, comments, and upvotes. BTW, I feel confident that he has become a normal adult. When I was a kid I stockpiled dozens of those mags under my basement couch over the course of a few years. I eventually forgot about them until one day when my dad asked me to help him move the furniture in the basement. That was a bit awkward. My grandma found a dildo I didn't like, brought it upstairs to show my mom and laugh, and then suggested she regift it to me in front of my whole family on Christmas morning. My grandma is savage AF, and I'm lucky to have a sliver of her humor. I don't know if that's funny or scary. Sounds like grandma. I was around 14 and ordered a book online about sex back when they just sent you anything if you promised you were over 18 and would pay for it later. 1996 Ike. This was no regular book. It was nearly 500 pages, a lethal-bound holy grail of sex. My father or mother found it one day under my bed, and I thought I would be in so much trouble, but they never said anything. A few weeks later, I go looking for it, and under their bed, I find my book, a printed out copy of the Anarchist Cookbook, and a VHS of heavy metal. I took it all and nothing has even been said about it to this day. One of them found the VHS, and I'm pretty sure it was my mom, thinking it was mine, due to the looks of disappointment shortly thereafter I was getting. Edit. I believe the book was called 6, A Man's Guide. However, the edition I had must have been special made because it had a leather cover with diamonds on it instead of the picture I saw from the book cover while doing research. It was very discreet. I know it was $80-90 with shipping because we would get a bill periodically for years to come. It was addressed to a Dr. D. Last name. I thought adding doctor would make me seem more grown up. The book was very well written and very helpful according to early lovers. It must have been my father's VHS tape and I'm unsure if my dad was hiding it from me or my mother. My father must have printed off the Anarchist Cookbook that he found online. I thought it was funny because it was hundreds of pages and stapled together like a binding. The cover was the Hacker's Manifesto. In the 90s he was into pirating video games and modding them. Doom, Wolfenstein, Duke Nukem, etc. My friends were much more interested in this than the sex book. Lethal-bound holy grail of sex. I love it. Her name is Madonna, have some respect. When my late husband was 21 and we'd been dating for a year, he had an MRI for something concerning and then went back to work, leaving his worried about his MRI mom from up north, who was just there for his medical stuff, in his apartment alone with nothing to do. So she cleaned a lot. When he came home his normally messy room was spotless. His bed was freshly made with the Bible he'd gotten at his church confirmation atop the pillow, and on top of that, a condom wrapper that must have made its way under the bed in our haste. In his closet, his once hidden Playboy cheerleaders VHS tape was now quite prominently displayed on a shelf. She never said a word to him about anything. She shot dagger eyes at me next time she saw me though. Edit. Holy shit. I didn't expect this to blow up like this. I've replied to a lot of comments, but I'm running out of time so. 1. Thanks for the condolences. 2. Thanks for all the awards too. 3. She was a very nice woman. We butted heads a bit on and off over the years, but honestly, she was not a monster mill. She loved me a lot and was a very sweet lady and a wonderful grandma to our son, who we had 5 years later. She has since passed away and I miss her. 4. Yeah, I agree with everyone that sex is normal and a healthy part of adult life, but we weren't all raised the same way. That was something you just didn't talk to your parents about. In my family, and especially in his family, there was a lot of running around and hiding, even though we were both out of the house. When we knew his parents were coming for a visit, it kept us on our toes, at least. 5. She never cleaned his room again. Silver lining. Oh, no, adults doing the sex. How vulgar. Thank you very much for watching. In the comments under the video, write what you think about all this. Also, don't forget to watch our other videos. Bye.